We are just delighted, Simran, to have you join us as executive director. I'd love to ask you, why this work?
Oh, thanks for the question, Allison, and thanks for the kind words. For me, the issue of religious pluralism feels very personal. My family grew up in South Texas, and we were some of the only people in the entire region who wore turbans. And so much of my upbringing was informed by bigotry based on how I looked, racism because of how people saw me, being excluded from places because of my turban. And so that was very much a part of my childhood. Um, the real watershed moment came when I was a senior in high school, when the terrorist attacks of 9/11 happened. And as we stood there as a class in Mrs. Strong's social studies classroom, and we watched the events unfold on television, they flashed an image of Osama bin Laden, the primary suspect. And as people started to look at me, I knew in that instant that my life was going to change. And it did. It changed in that moment. And we knew people who were attacked. We knew people who were killed. And it was then that I realized that if I didn't start working on these issues, that if we didn't start taking religious pluralism more seriously, there were real life and death consequences for all of us. And so that to me is where this urgency comes from on this issue, and where the passion comes from. It's a very personal matter for me, and it's one that I think about a lot as we think about our kids and their future going forward. So how about you, Allison? I'd love to know, how did you find yourself working on religious pluralism, and what drives you to continue working in this field?
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for sharing your story. I was sitting on a bench at a pep rally my freshman year of high school. A girl I call Carrie Ringer leans over to me to say, try reading the Bible, bitch. Super pithy attack, right? Memorable, funny, looking back on it, but not otherwise unusual, because I happened to be the village atheist in my small Bible Belt town. I hadn't been angry to begin with, but man, was I ever angry by the time I got out of there. Just wondering, pardon my French, what in the hell was wrong with all these Christian people? I wanted so badly to figure out what was wrong with them that I got interested in the history of Christianity in college. That was lovely, and all going fine until I had the chance to go to Cambridge University. I had applied to the history department. The acceptance letter said divinity department, but this little Florida blue-collar farm girl was not going to give up a chance to go to Cambridge. So I show up and I met my classmates my first day, a nun, a priest, and an Anglican seminarian, sitting there thinking, oh my gosh, what have I got myself into? And I could have written them off, as I had been written off by all those Christians around me. But I really didn't want anyone, regardless of their faith or lack thereof, to be made to feel as I had been. So instead, I got serious fast about treating people the way that I had wanted to be treated. I included them essentially. And then the most wonderful thing happened, which is that they included me, which probably as close to salvation as I'm ever going to get. So since then, I spent my life working with people of faith, trying to make sure we all have the same rights, freedoms, and safety to worship or not, according to our conscience. And that is why it's so amazing to be here at IAP, because that is exactly what we do. It's really, really wonderful to be able to do this work. It's such a blessing.